Good morning, sunshine. With a budget of $0, we don't care. It is time to talk some football with Hilltime Sports, and it's 6:30 in the morning on the West Coast. How's everybody doing today? A lot going on today. We have a bunch of roster cuts that have been going on lately. Cam Akers, New Orleans Saints running back, had after two Achilles tears. I'm reading this off Yahoo Sports, my friends, and that's all right because I ain't got all the answers, but I do got the power of the internet. Cam Akers, after two Achilles tears, is off the New Orleans Saints. Trent Brown, Texans offensive tackle, at one point a Super Bowl champion with the Patriots, and later the highest paid offensive lineman at 32. Oh, cuts live big. Okay, cool. Trent Brown, Tommy DeVito is no longer with the team. Well, probably going to be on the practice spot. Audrey Estime on the Broncos, Cleveland Farrell Commanders, Kenyon Green from the Eagles after they got him for C.J. Gardner-Johnson and I think a few draft picks. He is no longer on the team. He must have been so bad that they decided to let him go. Jake Hayner from the Saints, even though Spencer Rattler in other news is going to be starting for the Saints for the foreseeable future. Mecole Hardman from the Packers, it's pretty crazy. He's going to be. He had the walk-off touchdown from Kansas City. Hendon Hooker from the Lions. Dustin Hopkins from the Browns. We got dogs scratching in the background. Deontay Johnson from the Browns. Hunter Renfrow, Panthers wide receiver. We remember him from the Las Vegas Raiders. Desmond Ridder, Shiloh Sanders, the big one. One of the Sanders brothers is off the team after being ejected from the final preseason game. Was it because of bad play? Was it because of the ejection? Or was it a combination of both? Well, probably both. But let's see what happens with him. His NFL career is probably done. He's probably going to go play or maybe in Canada. XFL, is the XFL even a thing anymore? USFL, someone's alarm's going off in my background, but that's all right. Let's see. Anything good? Anything? Dylan Gabriel. Another news. Dylan Gabriel is Browns QB ahead of Shedeur Sanders. Did Shedeur Sanders do enough to even come close to the starting position? Despite that ugly pick six, I think Gabriel played better than Sanders. Spencer Rattler, like I said, beats out Tyler Shuck. And in other news, I would like to announce the engagement of Taylor Swift to Travis Kelce. Congratulations to them, I guess. What else can you say? It was supposed to happen maybe during the Super Bowl, but us Eagles fans put a stop to that. And that's pretty good stuff. But I got my handy-dandy coffee because it is so early in the morning that I really don't know what I'm doing here. But let's see what else is going on. Don't really know what else to do right now. We'll just talk some football. How am I feeling about some other things going on in the National Football League? Terry McLaurin just signed. Let me double check before I make any gaffes. Terry McLaurin contract. Okay. Terry McLaurin has a 3-year extension, $87 million base value, $29 million per year, $44 million guaranteed, converting to $50 million April 20. Okay, that's from Ian Rappaport. So $87 million, $29 million a year, $44 million guaranteed. At the age of 29, Terry McLaurin has basically been the the Terry McLaurin has been the face of the Washington franchise since I can't even remember, but it's been a while. He survived bad quarterback play, bad ownership, bad coaching. And at the age of 29, I don't mind him getting paid for what he has done off on the field. Is he going to be worth the contract in 3 years' time? I'm not sure. He'll be 32 by the time his contract is finished. I really don't like the idea of players missing training camp or practices because we've seen in the past with Brandon Ayuk that when you miss training camp and things like that, things can get pretty hairy, especially on the injury side of the ball. You really don't have the reps to show for it, and your body is a lot less limber. Let me take it this way. CM Punk missed 7 years of wrestling, and it took a long time for his body to, and this is a dramatic thing, 7 years without wrestling, comes back, he's injured a lot, which isn't a fault of his own, it's just that he just hasn't taken the bumps, he hasn't built up the immunity to taking bumps. And I think that happens a lot with players who hold out. We've seen it with Brandon Ayuk. We've seen it with Debo. We've seen it with a lot of other players. And I just don't know if it's going to end well this year for McLaurin. Hopefully it does. Hopefully I'm wrong. Trey Hendrickson got $30 million guaranteed, and that's good for him. But he also missed a lot of time in practice. We'll see how that goes. Is he going to be in shape enough to lead the Bengals in sacks? Because the Bengals are definitely going to need people to carry the load defensively, because they're not that good defensively. And if they can't get production out of their leading sack master, then it's going to be a long, long, long season. What else? Who else got contracts? Let's talk about the Eagles. Since I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, let's talk about Eagles. What's going on in the news on the Eagles side of that? Let's see. Eagles. Eagles definitely have problems at that second cornerback position. I think they're rounding out. They have set their initial 53-man roster according to their website. Sam Howell, Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee are all the quarterbacks. We all know Tanner McKee's been injured, and he'll be out for a while. Saquon Barkley, A.J. Dillon, Will Shipley, Ben Van Sumeren will be playing fullback. We actually have a fullback for I don't know how long. That's freaking crazy. It's been a while. A.J. Brown, Darius Cooper, Jahan Dotson, John Mechie III, and Devontae Smith will all be playing wide receiver. Grant Calcaterra, Dallas Goedert, Kylan Granson for the tight end. Landon Dickerson, Fred Johnson, Lane Johnson, Cam Jurgens, Drew Kendall, Jordan Mailata, Matt Pryor, Tyler Steen, Brett Toth, Trevor Keegan, Cameron Williams. It's pretty crazy. We don't know if Landon Dickerson is going to be ready for next week when they play the Dallas Cowboys and, put up that banner. That's pretty nice. But I think the Eagles pretty much have their team all set up. Who do I think is going to stand out this year that hasn't really? A lot of people like the name Jalen Hunt. He's going to be an edge rusher, and he'll get a lot of snaps along with Nolan Smith. Both names that are thrown out as potential breakout stars for the Eagles. lost a lot of people, Josh Sweat and a few others. CJ Gardner Johnson's out, so a lot of people are going to have to step up. I don't know how that second cornerback position is going to do this year, but it's going to be an interesting thing. Can they repeat as Super Bowl champions? I hope so. I'm unsure what's going to happen, to be honest. And I do like the pairing of Zach Bond and Jihad Campbell. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is an interesting name. Of course, son of Eagles great Jeremiah Trotter Sr., obviously. Keely Ringo, Dory Jackson are going to be the names thrown out as people who are going to be in that starting second cornerback position. Jacorian Bennett, also another name that's rising in the ranks. So we'll see how that goes and how that develops throughout the season, and who's going to play that guard position that Landon Dickerson is on, because we absolutely do not know what's going to happen until week 1 actually starts up, and that's pretty soon. I'm pretty excited for the football season. It's the first football season that I'm actually really invested in, because obviously I'm doing the YouTube thing. And hopefully, this is a good season for Philadelphia. Hopefully this is a fun football season and I can hang out, do my thing, and just watch football with you guys whenever you guys come along, and whoever wants to watch football with me would be pretty cool. I absolutely don't know what I'm doing most of the time. Still learning the ropes of YouTube and things like that. Like I said, I'll give a little background of what's going on. Tomorrow we find out just how severe my mom's cancer is. I'm pretty sure they caught it early, which is good. And I'm hoping that she recovers, and I'm going to do everything that I can. I do work a part-time job on top of doing this whole YouTube thing. I work like maybe in 3 hours, and it's been stressful. I've been doing this YouTube thing for about 5 months. Met a lot of great people, gotten a lot of hate comments. Not hate comments, but like comments that don't say I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's been so much fun. This is a blessing to be able to do this, even though, we're 22 subscribers away from 100. And I hope to get there by maybe the end of the month, maybe early next month, if I can hit the right people. I guess that would be helpful. We'll see how that goes. This is my dream right here, is to be doing this for the long term. That would be such a blessing to be able to do this and turn this into something, because when you suffer from panic disorder and agoraphobia, it's very hard your opportunities are limited. So you kind of have to make your own opportunities, and why not? Why not try? Why not try your best? But back to football. Who do I think are the big players in the NFC? We obviously have Detroit and Philadelphia. Green Bay will be in the playoffs. Um, who else do I think? I think in the South, you're going to have Tampa Bay. A lot of people have them as a dark horse team that could probably do something big. I'm really interested in what the Los Angeles Rams are. How is Matthew Stafford going to do? I know he's had some back issues, and we'll see how that goes. But I really like the odds of the Eagles, and call me biased because it happens. I I think the Lions are going to be up there. Like I said in my last video, they're probably going to be contending for the NFC title. Washington, I think, takes a step back. I think Jaden Daniels gets a little banged up, and it's not that I'm wishing it. It's that I don't know. I think he gets a little banged up, and the offense kind of sputters a little bit. I think there's kind of a sophomore slump, like there always is. People usually figure you out in year two. It's just the way that things go. Who else? Green Bay, and then Minnesota is also going to take a step back. They might even miss the playoffs, and the Niners take that spot. I think the Niners will be looking to remain one of the top players for the NFC West, and perhaps make the divisional round, maybe wild card. But I think the Rams have overtaken them as the best team in the NFC West this year. Arizona will obviously be improved depending on Kyler Murray. But all in all, I really think the Eagles and the Lions are the top teams in the NFC. On the AFC side of the ball, obviously the Ravens and Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, the Bills, Patrick Mahomes, and the Chiefs. Obviously in the running, although I think the Broncos have a very good shot of winning that division along with the Chargers. Before the injury to Slater, I thought they would actually be the ones to take them over. But with injuries comes, a falling back. Cincy, maybe. I don't think they addressed enough to actually do anything because, yeah, you could pay your wide receivers and your quarterback, but what about the rest of the team? We obviously saw Joe Burrow running for his life last season. I mean, in the preseason, and I really don't know what it's going to look like for them. I also don't know what the Steelers are going to look like with Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers has one more good year left in him, and it's his retirement year. Maybe. We'll see how the offensive line holds up, whether they have a run game, whether DK Metcalf can be a route runner. Usually Jordy Nelsons and your Cobbs and people like that are the types of receivers that he throws to, but that remains to be seen with DK. Obviously, they have Jonnu Smith, they have Freiermuth to throw to. Defensively, I think they're pretty solid. Jalen Ramsey is, 30, 31, 32, somewhere around there. We'll see how that goes. Denver has probably one of the best defenses in the National Football League this season. And I wholeheartedly think that they can make a big leap. I don't want to jinx them because obviously my friend's a Denver Broncos fan. And on the west side, yeah, I think it's a 3-team race. I think Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs stumble out of the gate, and the Broncos or Chargers take over this year. I don't think the offensive line is as good as people say it is. In the South, that's going to be a toss-up to me. I don't think the Texans really address the offensive line problems. And I think Tennessee's gotten at least a moderately better with Cam Ward, even though he didn't perform as well as we'd like in the preseason. And then you have Jaguars who can really cause trouble. I think they can really cause trouble. I think people are underrating them. Definitely underrating them. And it's unfortunate. The Colts obviously are a mess. I think they will probably finish at the bottom of the division this year. I think it's going to be a carousel of quarterbacks. It's going to be Richardson, Daniel Jones, hopefully Tyler Warren plays out of his mind like a Brock Bowers, because I need him to do well on my fantasy team. But we'll see. Who do I think is going to be on the hot seat of coaches within the year? I think Stefanski's going to be gone mid-season. I think, who the heck is the coach of the Bengals? I think the coach of the Bengals is going to be AFC East. I forgot about that. AFC East. The Bills, obviously the cream of the crop. Miami, I don't know what type of team they are. Are they really contending under Mike McDaniel? I don't know. I think the team is kind of just stayed the same that it's been. I mean, Mika Fitzpatrick is a good pickup, but does it really do anything? Jalen Ramsey is gone. Went to the Steelers, obviously. I just talked about that. So I think they're just spinning their wheels and hoping that something good happens. Tua, I really think that he should look for his long-term health and maybe call it quits. I'm not 100% sure what to think of that situation. Then you got the Jets, who obviously haven't been good in 55 years? It's been 56 years. They haven't been a good football team, like a great football team. I mean, they made their playoffs. They made some runs at the AFC title game. But other than that, they've just been kind of meh. Are they cursed? Something wrong with them? Is it ownership? Is it just bad luck? I don't know. But I don't think they have a team to contend unless Justin Fields magically turns into Lamar Jackson. Then I would say, okay, well, maybe they can win 7 games and show some promise. Because I think Justin Fields is still pretty young. Sorry. Then you have the Patriots. I think the Patriots and the Jets are going to be playing for that third position. I think the Patriots are a better team than the Jets at this point, especially with the addition of Will Howard. I think Will Howard will be the best player in the draft, like early on. I always think offensive linemen have the best shot at being the best players in the draft, because the offensive line, despite not getting a lot of love, they obviously make the team better. Without a great offensive line, you're pretty much stuck. Offensive, defensive line will dictate how good your team is. And that's just the philosophy that has been ingrained in my head by my dad. I watched a lot of Abdul Carter's film in the preseason the other day, because I was like, oh, maybe he could be Defensive Player of the Year. I think he's going to be outmatched. I think early on, Carter is going to struggle. And he might be a Vernon Golston type player. That's from looking at the way he was outmatched, outmaneuvered. Tight ends were blocking him very well. I'm like, I don't know if this guy has it. I really don't think he does, but we'll see. We'll see. I think he's going to be a bust, and I would like to see him prove me wrong. But after watching that, some of that preseason film, he got out blocked. He got blocked, and it's not even because of the fact that he was humiliated by that tight end. It's more the fact that he just couldn't do anything. His footwork was terrible. His instincts weren't that good. He was beaten constantly on the offensive on the line. Genty is a player that I think will succeed. I mean, the Raiders' running game can't get any worse than it already is, and we've already seen him be able to power through some tackles. I think he will win the Offensive Player of the Year, but I think Trevion Henderson goes to a better situation with a better offensive line. I think he'll have more opportunities to catch the ball. I think a lot of these rookie running backs are going to play early on. We have RJ Harvey who's going to play. We have the one from Omarion Hampton's going to play early on, especially with Najee Harris not doing with his eye situation. I think a lot of these young rookie running backs are going to be playing pretty early to, I think, week one. A lot of these running backs are going to be playing early. Wide receiver wise, I really like Matthew Golden, especially because he's on my fantasy team and I need him to play. Tetaroa McMillan, I think, will help Bryce Young's development a lot, which is pretty good. I think he'll do well. I think he can at least have 600-700 yards this season. Obviously, you have Xavier Legette. We don't know what the situation with the Panthers wide receivers are. I'm kind of sketchy on them. You have Egbuka from Tampa Bay, who I think will emerge. I think Mike Evans is at the tail end of his career, and I don't think he's going to be as productive this year as he has been. I could be totally wrong. Godwin's ankle is a question mark. So I think Egbuka is going to take a lot of the snaps and a lot of the targets to kind of ease both of these players into the game. Baker will probably have a slightly below what he did last year's numbers. We got dogs. Sorry about that. Who else am I missing? Who am I like? I think Tyler Warren's going to be good. I think he has to be good, especially, draft him on my fantasy football team. I think on the defensive side of the ball, I think Campbell's going to be really good. Talk about Carter. I think he was outmaneuvered all preseason and will struggle early on, if not all season. I really just didn't see anything that I liked from him at this moment. I think Jahdae Barron's going to be really good, especially, we have a situation where Patrick Surtain is the defensive player of the year from last year. So he's going to get a lot less targeted like a Deion Sanders did or Darrelle Revis or people like that. And it's going to open up a lot of opportunity for Jahdae Barron to really succeed. I think he can be a defensive rookie of the year candidate. I think, who else did I say? Campbell. I think the defensive tackle from the Browns will be really good, especially paired up with Myles Garrett. They're going to the Browns, for all intents and purposes, are going to be a very good defense. But when it comes offensively, we don't know what they're going to be. I don't think they have the running. I don't think they have obviously don't have the quarterback situation. I think they're just picking up the pieces, fitting puzzle pieces together. Is it going to be Gabriel? Is it going to be Flacco the whole season? It's going to be Sanders. We don't know. I think Gabriel will end up starting weeks, like a few weeks. They're going to try and figure out what they have in their rookie quarterbacks. I don't think they have much. I think a lot of it has to do with Sanders, who Sanders' dad is after watching the preseason and him taking bad sacks. I think Jackson Dart will be a better quarterback year one than Cam Ward. That's not a hot take to me. I think Jackson Dart has shown that he's a really good quarterback. By week 8 or 9, I think Jackson Dart does start for the Giants. The reason why I say that he's going to have a better season is Malik Neighbors. I think it's no fault of Cam Ward. He's basically throwing to Calvin Ridley. And Calvin Ridley had a lot of drops last season. I think he had like eight drops or something like that. And then you've seen the Van Jefferson drop, and you've seen nobody can catch the ball on the Titan side of the ball. Unfortunately, it's just going to be it's going to be a lot of growing pains for Cam Ward. And it might be a situation where I think was it Peyton Manning drafted before Marvin Harrison, or was Marvin Harrison drafted before? Let me double check that. I think we're going to have a situation where he's going to need – what year was Marvin Harrison? Not junior. Marvin Harrison. Is he a Hall of Famer? Yeah, he's in the Hall of Fame. Didn't even know. He was drafted in 1996. Okay, so we had a situation where Marvin Harrison was drafted 2 years before Peyton Manning. So we're going to have the exact opposite problem. Cam Ward needs weapons. I don't think Tony Pollard is going to be the answer long-term at the running back position. The team is in a complete rebuild. Defensively, no names stand out. Offensively, they have barely anything except a quarterback. I thought it was a stupid idea to even draft a quarterback number 1 overall. I would have went Will Campbell number 1 overall because it's not the sexiest pick, but it's the right pick in my opinion to draft an offensive lineman number 1 overall. And of course, pressure from ownership and coaches on the hot seat and things like that. But rebuilds take a while, especially when you're starting at 0. You basically are throwing this kid out to the wolves, hoping that he doesn't destroy himself mentally. Hopefully he shows you enough to prove that, hey, I'm the guy. Like we've seen it with Bryce Young. Bryce Young got sat and then came back, played really well. I think had the most big-time throws from week 10 on. But it's just really, really bad on these kids' mental side of the things. We've seen Justin Fields get traded after a couple years. Mitchell Trubisky, as much as people don't think he's a good quarterback, he got thrown into a really bad situation. I don't even think he should have been drafted number 2 overall to begin with. Josh Rosen's another player who was drafted by, and granted, he said I'm the best quarterback in the draft class, but but he was thrown into a situation in Arizona that was a losing situation. Who else? The only quarterbacks I could say like actually proved themselves in the last, what is it, decade? Who was drafted number one overall? Decade and a half. Saw what happened with Andrew Luck. Obviously, that was unfortunate. Matthew Stafford took him a couple of years, and then you have players like a Jamarcus Russell, who were really just terrible. I'm trying to think of quarterbacks who succeeded number one overall and have been playing very well. Jared Goff got traded away to the Detroit Lions after a while. And you wonder, like, what is the best way to bring a quarterback along? I really like the old way of doing things, having your quarterback sit behind a veteran for maybe the first season, second season. A lot of these coaches and general managers are under the gun and they need to perform very quickly. So what do? Like a Steve Young is another example of a quarterback who was considered a bust, sat behind Joe Montana, and then went on to win a Super Bowl and have a Hall of Fame career. It could be done with like Troy Aikman, Peyton Manning, Cam Newton, and all these quarterbacks who played week one, got the crap kicked out of them, and then went on to have successful careers. But I've always liked the idea of drafting offensive linemen, drafting defensive linemen, building from the trenches, and then going outward. But a lot of these coaches, a lot of these general managers are like, no, we're going to draft a quarterback and have a Trevor Lawrence back there. And that Trevor Lawrence situation did not help themselves. It's unfortunate. I think Trevor Lawrence in a better situation would have been a lot better of a quarterback, but I don't know what he has in Jacksonville left. He's got weapons. He's got Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas Jr. He's got, what is his name? Travis Hunter, who's going to play both sides of the balls. And we've seen just how poorly run the Jacksonville Jaguars have been for the last decade and a half. The ownership has not been there for them. They are one of the worst in their facilities. They've had rat problems. The whole cart situation, whether that was Trevor Lawrence wanting to walk off under his own power or not, and Travis Etienne running for 550 yards last season. The defense, linebackers allowing a lot of completions. Did they address those problems? Travis Hunter, I don't think should be playing both sides of the ball, but they're going to allow him to do whatever he wants because, I don't know, it's just a stupid situation. And I really just hope that he is a lot better than that I think he's going to be. I think he's going to get tired out very quick because nobody has that level of endurance to play two positions. I think who else was drafted? I think a lot of these. What was it? I lost my train of thought, and my apologies. Another news. I do have a Josh Allen card that I got at a little local like food truck event. Josh Allen is a very cool story in my neck of the woods. Let's look at the draft class. I'm trying to look at 2025 NFL draft. Let's see. I forgot all the picks. So we got Kelvin Banks Jr., offensive tackle. I know that Armand Membo from Missouri is going to probably, I think, do pretty well, especially because you can't do worse than the Jets' offensive line in 2024 when they allowed Brees Hall to only have 2 yards before contact. I think that's going to make them a lot better. At least just putting a body. You could probably put a refrigerator out there and they'd probably do a lot better. Colston Loveland is going to be pretty good. I think they have 2 tight ends. I don't know how that's going to work. Ashton Genty, we've talked about him. Mason Graham, Will Campbell, like I said, the best player in that draft. Mikael Williams, edge, definitely going to be helped out by having Nick Bosa. Tyler Booker is going to take over for Zach Martin, desperately needed on the Dallas Cowboys side. Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan for the Miami Dolphins. I don't think the Dolphins are built any better for the cold. They just haven't been that way for a while. I think McDaniel might be fired after this season. I think Mike Tomlin is another name that gets fired at the end of the season if they regress. I think he has one good season. He has one season where he loses more games than he wins, doesn't have a winning season, and then they get rid of him. I think it's an Andy Reid situation where sometimes it's not the fault of the coach, it's not the fault of the team, but you kind of just need to separate. And I think the Steelers and Mike Tomlin have reached that point where they just have to go their separate ways. And like, I'm not knocking Mike Tomlin. I'm not knocking the Steelers. It's just, I think it's a situation. It's that kind of situation. Mike Tomlin could go to another team, win playoff games. Well, he's proven it before. He's been to the Super Bowl twice, won once. I just don't think they should be playing around with these 10-7 records, 9-8 records, whatever, and getting bounced in the first round of the playoffs. I think they should probably cut it loose. They should have drafted maybe a quarterback this year. Jackson Dart was on the board. Obviously, he went to the Giants. The Giants could be a lot better just by having him on the team. Are they going to be a playoff team? Obviously not. You have the Eagles, don't say that word, Commanders. You have the Commanders, and Dallas obviously will be a lot better. I think a lot of people just give Dallas crap just to give Dallas crap, but they will be competitive. I think Dak Prescott will be one of those players who goes for the Comeback Player of the Year award just because, they're going to be losing garbage time numbers. Christian McCaffrey will be back. I think he'll be better. How much longer does he have? A lot of wear and tear, injuries in Carolina and San Francisco. I really don't like when a running back gets injured over and over, and I don't think they're ever the same. I think Nick Chubb, even though he has had injuries, will have a better season than Joe Mixon. I think he establishes a run game. He's going to be running harder, and because of what happened in Cleveland, because obviously he didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay in Cleveland. I think Chubb could have helped out that Cleveland team. I think Jamar Chase, I've said it in my last video, has a chance to set the record for most receiving yards in a season. I think the Bengals are going to have to play really good on offense, almost mistake-free football on offense, for them to even have a chance to win games. I don't know if Burrow can do that. I don't know if Trey Hendrickson could regress just because of all the holdout, and we've seen what happens when you hold out. We've seen it with Ayuk. We've seen it with players like let's go to like famous holdouts. I'm just going to go to the internet. Famous holdouts. NFL last decade. The last decade. Le'Veon Bell, obviously, he was never the same player. Melvin Gordon held out. Ezekiel Elliott was never the same. Aaron Donald, very good. And Khalil Mack, they were very good. Earl Thomas, injured in 2018. Lamar Jackson held out. Chris Jones held out. CeeDee Lamb. So it's about a 50-50 chance that these holdouts work out. I think it works better if you're a defensive player because you could just get the snaps going, but it's a bad situation. I think McLaurin will be okay. I don't know how long he's been practicing. I hope it's not another Ayuk situation, and he does play well. He doesn't get injured, but I don't know. I really don't like the holdout. I think the holdouts are not a bad idea if done right. If you're gonna hold out, it's a sketchy situation. I think I'll make a video on this. Who actually wins when players hold out? Do you lose leverage when you're holding out, or do you gain leverage by not being on the field? Micah Parsons obviously is a big name. He's still holding out. A lot going on with Jerry Jones and that side of the thing. McLaurin, I think, would have been better off going to practice. He probably would have gotten the contract anyways, but it's just a situation where you're missing reps. Your body isn't taking the hits that it needs to. Look, football is a very physical sport. And when you're not getting your body used for the physical demand of playing football, I think it's a very bad idea, to be honest. It's just my honest opinion on these things. But I think I'll end it here. Let me see if anybody's had any questions. I did post something yesterday saying I was going to go live. How do I check that? Go to the dashboard, content, posts. Any questions at all? No questions. So we'll come back next week and see what's going to be happening from here. I will see you guys next week. I'll have a video out tomorrow if my brother gets me his video. Friday for sure. I'm definitely going to do that who wins in a holdout kind of contract negotiations video. I think that'd be a good idea. But see you in the next video. Adios. This is Hilltime Sports.